Ladies and gentlemen, I have something to say. Years back, one of my most famous videos I've ever posted was on life-changing wealth and sudden wealth syndrome specifically. And in that video, we discussed life-changing wealth. Here, this video titled 15 Things to Do If You Get Rich All of a Sudden. Number 14 was do not cheat on your partner. And I famously stated, do not change your wives. But I understand. Since these years have gone by, and through all the suffering the XRP army has gone through, what doesn't get taken into account is the wives that have suffered with our delinquency. Gentlemen, back in the day I used to say, I understand. Now, you stand by that woman because I no longer understand. She's been suffering enough. Didn't you see the intro to this video? You didn't see the intro to this video. She's mad. She's pissed. Over here suffering with you. We're over here degenning into altcoin vapor while everything else goes to the moon. Shit, poop, rock go to the moon. Dogs go to the moon. Bitcoin goes to the moon, but you're holding XRP through a lawsuit. She deserves every penny, you delinquents. And don't you forget it. Now, my friends, with all seriousness and with all humor aside, let's get into the truly important content for the day. Now, what I have for all of you today is what I believe are the initial stages of XRP showing strength in its price, as XRP is only down 0.5% on the day when Bitcoin was negative 2.5% and ETH was down 8%. We also have to realize that all the bullish context in the world is happening right now for the XRP price. Currently, I believe there's a 0% chance XRP won't get to new all-time highs. XRP has been dependent on Bitcoin to rise in value before it can rise in price. But in this cycle so far, we've seen a Bitcoin ETF approved and new all-time high values for Bitcoin. The ETH ETF is approved and now live, as on the first day of trading, over $1 billion has been traded. And this is extremely important, as the context for the crypto market is overall bullish. This momentum, in my opinion, will lead to a Solana and XRP ETF being in line for 2025, especially in XRP1 post this lawsuit being over. We have the stock market at levels that support a bullish context. I suspect a 100k plus Bitcoin price at the end of this cycle. And XRP has bullish catalysts on its own that should propel it to new all-time high values, like being relisted on all exchanges. AMM's going live. This is a house side chain, Ripple stablecoin, Medico custody solution, a Ripple IPO down the road, crypto becoming a political talking point, and regulations likely. This case will conclude at the end of this summer. And finally, this is most important, XRP is repeating the March 2017 pattern that caused it to rise 58,000% in value. Waters Above posted this chart that showed the 5 stages XRP experienced back in 2017. That made it explode up in value to new all-time highs. And we are here in phase 5. We broke through support, came back, and we are in the moments right before we hit new highs and break through resistance. My friends, I'm telling you, with everything going on in the air, with the political unrest in the real world, with the likely most volatile election cycle we've ever experienced, you all need to realize that during these periods of massive change come massive opportunity. And I think the biggest opportunity is the one people are so dissuaded against, the one that people are underestimating. And to me, that is XRP. Now here, guys, I'm gonna play you a brief clip of BlackRock's Robert Mitchnick, former Ripple employee, emphasizing that there's a ton of demand from our clients at BlackRock to be able to access the leading crypto assets within the exchange traded wrapper, spot ETFs, and these leading assets are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. As a look at what Hashdex has added for their crypto fund.
A really beneficial thing for investors and for markets, what's happened with these ETFs, they've brought access to these assets, which many investors clearly have wanted and have been excited to get the opportunity to hold through an ETF, and brought that into a regulated environment, into these wrappers. There's a ton of demand from our clients clearly to be able to access the leading crypto assets within the exchange traded wrapper. And so it's been a great year from that standpoint. A really beneficial thing for investors and for markets, what's happened with these ETFs, they've brought access to these assets, which many investors clearly have wanted and have been excited to get the opportunity to hold through an ETF, and brought that into a regulated environment, into these wrappers. There's a ton of demand from our clients clearly to be able to access the leading crypto assets within the exchange traded wrapper. And so it's been a great year from that.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, with that in mind, with BlackRock center stage in crypto adoption right now, Elon Musk has fanned wild rumors that Trump could create a Bitcoin strategic reserve and trigger crypto price chaos at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville. And what I have to add is right now, CNBC discusses the possibility of the US government holding Bitcoin as a reserve. And regardless of what anyone may think, this is one of the most bullish moments, in my opinion, in crypto history, as a former president is going to be discussing crypto as part of his re-election campaign in the biggest crypto conference of the year.
Yeah, he's going to speak very positively about Bitcoin here at the conference.
Do you think that these favorable comments could go so far as to indicate that he'd be open to it being a reserve currency for the U.S.?
Yeah, so there were some rumblings of that on X this week. It could be something that's very difficult to get done, but it is possible. The Justice Department holds about 200,000 units of Bitcoin. So the United States is the largest holder of Bitcoin. And so they could easily just move that over to the Department of Treasury and start right there and have 13 billion worth of Bitcoin on the balance sheet. So it is a possible move. It just could be tough to get done. But what happens is the Justice Department, in holding these units of Bitcoin, they've been a random seller in the space. And so if they move from being a random seller at times, which could push the price of Bitcoin down, over to being a long-term hodler, well, that could be really good for the space and push prices up.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, what's unbelievably fascinating to me, and should be fascinating to all of you, is that now we've gone from crypto being illegal to some countries overseas, Bitcoin being used by money launderers and scammers and for illegal activity and Silk Road, to now it being talked about being a potential reserve asset. This is insane to witness as someone who's been in this space since 2016. I honestly never thought we'd be here, but with BlackRock and potential presidential backing, we're in for a fantastic 2024 and a 2025 bull run. But here, you need to understand that with adoption will come regulation, and it's looking like there will be draconian regulation, especially in Europe, as the EU is thinking through having constituents register all their assets, bank accounts, crypto, real estate, precious metals, cars, watches, and art. Having an EU register for their assets is going to be the next step, right before confiscation. And Balaji, formerly at Coinbase, let us know that the EU is bankrupt and preparing for asset seizure. It's why they're building this registry. And what's coming is not just inflation, but confiscation. This is how they bail out the central banks. Quantitative easing into infinity and beyond will lead into bank bail-ins and asset seizures. And ladies and gentlemen, when governments are flailing, they steal from their citizens and then point the government gun at them. This is how it happens every single time. And I can't stress this enough. It starts in third world countries with bail-ins. Then it's gonna happen to the Western world. Mark my words. This is why I tell everyone to watch out for a global event such as World War III starting up in the Middle East and with Russia, as quite literally we have Netanyahu visiting with Congress and they're already pushing for war with Iran. Not only are Middle Eastern tensions rising, not only tensions in Ukraine with Russia rising, but we have China on standby looking to take Taiwan. Ladies and gentlemen, before World War I, we had the Federal Reserve and the income tax implemented. After that, World War I began. Next, after World War II, we had Bretton Woods. Now, they've been calling for a new Bretton Woods. And along with that will be the Third World War, that in my opinion has already started and is only going to get more intense. So here, what I want to do is show you the only institution with no debt, the only institution that can bail out the central bank speaking and suggesting that a new Bretton Woods is needed for digital finance, DeFi, crypto, and CBDCs. The IMF, World Bank, and OCDE are all discussing this. And it was also being stated that the FASB is allowing for the fair market value of crypto assets to exist on a balance sheet, and that the path ahead is going to be bumpy in 2025. Crypto adoption is going to align with war and also global volatility. But here, I want you all to listen to this video clip of the IMF's Tobias Adrian in this discussion, who, by the way, if you don't remember, Tobias Adrian, this man right here, he's from the IMF, and it just so happens that right here, he's the same guy on a panel with Brad Garlinghouse from that 9th high-level meeting on the International Monetary System. Connections is all I'm saying. So when the same man who was at the IMF is over here having these conversations, I can't help but ask the question, what Ripple and XRP's role will be in this new intervention.
But the point, and this is the important, is that given the level of payments, cross-border payments, luckily we freedom of capital movements, also thanks to the important instrument managed by historically by IMF and in part also by us. So it's I think that we should overcome this national and nationality issue, and so I think we need, I would say, a dual approach. So surely, bottom up, but in part top down. Honestly, we have seen that in dramatic movements, and I use this example and joke, Mathilde knows. I think that we had, Bretton Woods conference. So I think we really need a sort of new Bretton Woods, I would say, for digital finance, DeFi, for crypto assets, for CBDC, but we surely need that all the actors, and by the way, we have also different international fora dealing with this, but they have, I would say, a different kind of composition. In some cases, maybe, obviously, maybe central bankers and people interested in only, let's say, in the macro stability side, but there are the micro stability, there are the investor protection. We need really a broad, at least place where we have to put together all the relevant, let's say, policy makers, regulators, supervisors, as broad as possible, okay, in order then to find also top-down at least some principles that then can go down. I think this is essential in order to avoid also, let's say, tensions that I think otherwise we may have much broader than what we have experienced in the last, I would say, 20 years a couple of times. Thank you, Matilda.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, these lizards literally have to tell you what they're doing. And for years, we've been deciphering the lizard talk and knowing exactly what their plan is. But I don't think enough people get it. I don't think enough people understand. So what I'll be doing, on top of everything that was shown today, is that tomorrow I'll be playing a Whitney Webb interview discussing exactly what BlackRock is hiding from you and uncovering the final plan, the ultimate plan for the new world they want to bring on that you don't have any say in. Ladies and gentlemen, we're closer than we've ever been before. And when you see the language they're using, it's going to give you a brain blast. You're going to say, I'm exactly in the right place at exactly the right time to become the new 1%. Now, guys, as I leave you for the day, I'm going to remind all of you to buy your offline hardware wallets to protect your digital assets, as these governments are now encroaching on your freedoms and your personal property more and more. These exchanges could go down. They could seize your crypto. Anything can happen, and self-custody is the #1 thing you can do to protect yourself from any and all things. My discount link to a decent wallet is down in the description below. And I highly recommend as many of you as possible get as many wallets as you need to feel secure for the new world. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.